Welcome to Kirsty TV. My guest today, Claire Wineland, is an incredible individual. She was born with chronic cystic fibrosis, has had more hospitalizations than most of us could ever count or imagine in our lifetime, was in a coma for 17 days, and yet she still spreads light and joy out in the world. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So I hear they call you the little Buddha.
The little Buddha. Oh yeah. No, I think my stepmom came up with that because I was a very Zen child. For all the needles and all the crazy stuff that went on, I was a very Zen child. But I don't know. I think I've kind of been able to draw some peace out of life, and I think that's part of Buddha's whole message. I
know watching some of your videos, I picked up that you're really into meditation and affirmations and visualization. Yeah. I'm like, you're 15. So it's quite incredible.
I think part of it I give to the whole CF. CF has definitely been a gift in many ways.
See, that's your abbreviation. CF is cystic fibrosis.
Yes, sorry, cystic fibrosis.
Just so everyone else knows.
Right. I always forget that people don't know the general terms.
It's your lingo.
Exactly.
If someone's
all
on
the CF kids know the lingo too. But yeah, so I think part of it I attribute to CF, and then part of it I attribute to my family and really the way I was raised, because it was either look at CF as a challenge and make our lives miserable, or think of a different way to look at the world.
Yeah.
And so my family chose think of another way to look at the world.
Well, and it's interesting that you say make our lives miserable. So you really see this, your whole family's a part of it. It's not just about you.
I mean, now that I'm a teenager, it's a lot more my responsibility to do treatments, to plan, to figure everything out. But when I was younger, it was all my parents and my crazy big family.
So what do you do those days when you're in hospital for a week?
A lot of things. I've thrown parties, multiple parties, 2 birthday parties, New Year's party. We once had we went downstairs and I had one of the chefs owed me a favor downstairs. So used their kitchen and we made a whole New Year's dinner.
Well, and you said that, you don't know any different. This is your life. This is how you've been. What do you think is the biggest assumption that people make about you?
Biggest assumption, I think, is that my life is hard, I mean, everyone's life is very hard. I can't remember who said this, but be kind to everyone you meet, for everyone is fighting a great battle. And I think that it's so true in the sense we expect if someone looks good on the outside, they look put together, their life is easy. If they look like they're not put together, their life is hard. And that is just such a mixed up, usually the ones who look all put together on the outside are the ones that are really crumbling.
So I remember seeing in one of your videos where you literally said, I'm going to challenge you all, the audience, to see your problems and face them and stare them down. And you were getting so angry and passionate about it. But is that what you do? Do you almost stare down your challenge?
I do, and I've become friends with my challenges too. Yeah. Become friends with them, don't hate them. And also all the fear and anxiety and anger around the challenges. A lot of times you take away all of the emotions around it and the challenges themselves aren't that bad, but it's the emotions that we really have to be okay with. We're kind of in a world where we think fear or anger or hate are bad and you shouldn't have them, but it's what makes us human.
So when are you scared? What are the things that scare you now?
Such silly things, regular teenage things scare me so much. In college, oh my God. I think because I was raised day to day, it was
Well, you were told you had a life expectancy of 10 when you were born.
Yeah, when I was born it was 10. I was 3 years around 13. Then it was 18, then 20. Now it's around 40s, in your 40s. But each mutation is different.
So is this the first time you've started to think, I might have children, I might get married?
Yeah, really, it is, and it's very terrifying. Because you go your life thinking one thing, and then all of a sudden it's just totally goes a different direction.
So when you were growing up and you didn't think you would live very long, was that something you thought about on a day-to-day? Were you told about or made to think about?
It was never you're not gonna live, so do something now. It was just kind of the energy around my life was live right now, live in the moment. And so it wasn't like anyone didn't help, didn't make me think about it. It just never crossed our minds.
Yeah. You said to me when we were chatting before that also what you struggle with is now that there may be this cure for CF, with who are you without it?
Right.
So what do you think about that whole, like your identity being wrapped up in having CF?
Yeah, it's hard not to identify with something that's been with you your entire life.
Yeah.
It's hard not to identify with your eye color or your hair color, And so I think for me, it's more of a fear of what am I gonna do when I don't have this illness on me all the time. And now I have to kind of realize, okay, without this, am I still gonna be able to be as passionate about the things I'm passionate about now? And even if my passions change, as long as I can keep that energy there and stay excited about life and all of that, then I think it'll be all right.
Well, and a big part of what you talk about and what you want to share with other people is how they can move forward in their own life and be, not be held back by anything.
Right.
So what, if you had 1 minute to leave a message for people on this planet, what would you be saying?
Enjoy all of the aspects, the many spectrums of being human.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that.
you.
You're so excited about life. I just love it.
I know. I think I have good friends now, but I didn't always. Like, there's definitely people who call me Pollyanna. But I got frustrated. Like, I wasn't always happy. I got angry. I was just always excited about doing something. So I think a lot of kids they either envy me or they envy me, they want to be around me, or they hate me.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of like teenagers,
Well,
not adults. But
I think that's the biggest thing about meeting you. It comes back to that assumption. People presume that you're not living a normal childhood, and you really are incredibly normal, incredibly grounded and happy, and just the problems are not defining who you are and how you live your life.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, you were in a coma and for 17 days.
Yes.
How did that change your view of the world?
For me, CF was never really a deadly thing. It was always there, and it was always like I have to do treatments and take pills, and it's always a maintenance, but it was never like this can actually kill you. I think my parents were very careful with keeping away the death language, away from me when I was younger. And I went into a regular surgery, and while I was under, I got blood sepsis. So I came out and I had an infection in my blood, and it affected the weakest part of my body, which was my lungs. So I went into full-blown lung failure, and I couldn't breathe, and I basically pretty much died. And couldn't breathe. I was on a ventilator, which didn't work, so then they put me on an oscillator, which is a very, very heavy-powered ventilator. And no one with cystic fibrosis had ever been on an oscillator and survived and come off without it. And I survived it, but when I came out, I understood that this wasn't just I have to take extra pills when I eat.
So it changed your perspective.
It changed my perspective how close death was. And I think it's death on our heels all the time that really keeps us living.
So what last message would you like to leave people with?
To reconsider everything that they thought their life was about and thought that they knew. To really just take a step back and look at your whole life in a different way, in a different perspective. Imagine something totally different. Because you pull yourself out of what you're stuck in your head, these things that you think are right and wrong and what you have to do, and you just pull away from that, and there's so many possibilities that are there,
You are such a little Buddha.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being
so
here today
much.
with us. So if you're out there watching, I hope that you see life's challenges and problems through the wondrous eyes that Claire sees them, and really start to flip the way that you view the world and those challenges, because they really can be an experience, something that we can embrace and we can love and we can accept as part of our life. So if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, post a comment on Facebook, or tweet us. We'd love to hear from you to continue the conversation here on Kirsty TV, and we'll see you next time.